We are live for round 2 of season 15. As a good job, I caught the spectator thing last minute. Thank you, Smugget, for reminding me. Yep, we're back with season 15 of DRS F1. We are having the first 100% race of the season at Saudi Arabia. So, just while we wait for the one-shot qualifying as standard, let's take a look at, if I can find it, just to remind you guys of last week's race results. So if you weren't with us last week for the first round at Silverstone Reverse, Jax Daniels pulled off a strategy masterclass to take P1 ahead of Senna and Centra Finley, who got his first podium ever in DRS. And here we go, it is time for one-shot qualifying. Let's follow, never mind, I was going to say let's follow last week's P3 driver, Centra Finley. Let's get my usual data up there, and here we go. Let's see where he's tracking into third at the moment. Never mind, he's up to P1 provisionally. We'll go to the external view now as he comes through the tight and twisty end of sector 1. Looks like he's lost a bit of time through that last little right-left. Looks like Jax Daniels is going to be the provisional pole sitter as of the end of sector 1. Excuse me, it was looking very, very close to the top of the standings there. Frosty's climbing a few spots, so him and Senna are battling away. In fact, let's actually go up to Swanson, coming into the second DRS straight. Oh, kind of like along the lake in a way, because there's a little lake just to the right of the, just to the left of the wall, of the left hand side wall, should I say. Anyways, coming to the start, finish to finish, the one-shot lap. Jax Daniels takes pole with a 27.384. Senna nearly half a second behind in second from the looks of things. So, after one-shot qualifying, Jax Daniels, it's not as bad as I thought it was, 0.3 of a second ahead of Senna. Frosty racing third, DRS Syme fourth, Coleman rounding out the top 5. Finley made his way back up to 6th ahead of Swanson, Smugget, Al Newt, the Sloth rounding out the top 10. The others just outside that top 10, Mr. Pickle, Sainsy, 50 Gen, Michael, Easy Life and King Kong, who is hoping for a better result than last week at Silverstone. And while we wait for the drivers to get themselves ready for the 100% race ahead of them, we will just look I can't really show you a lot, but we can have a bit of a chat about the Jeddah Corniche circuit. 27 turns. It's a mix of chicanes and a lot of fast flowing sweeping corners. And to be fair, I reckon it's... Is this? I can't... Someone could tell me in the comments possibly, I don't know, but I reckon maybe Vegas might pip it, but this is probably one of the fastest street circuits on the calendar. As I mentioned, there are obviously the 27 turns on this circuit. I believe it makes it the well, at least on the current calendar, the track with the most corners. Because of the amount of corners, I'm going to have a little track map. I usually have a track map anyway, just so I know roughly where we are on tracks that don't have iconic corners. It's going to be working overtime here because from turn 7, which is kind of like the double left-hander in the middle of the first sector, from there to turn 12, it's basically corner, 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 corner. Just non-stop until you get to that straight to end sector 1. So if anything happens between 10 and 12, turns 10 and 12, I'm just going to say it's the end of sector 1. I can't be bothered saying, going into specifics of corners. Ooh, I tell you what I can do while we are waiting. I can give you constructors updates, or championship updates, should I say. Overall standings as they finished on the first round at Silverstone last week. Team standings: Haas is on top by 1 point from Mercedes and Ferrari. Alpine in 4th. They may have got the win, but they're 4th, 9 points behind Haas. Sauber 5th, McLaren 6th, Aston Martin 7th, Williams 8th, Racing Bulls 9th, and Red Bull in 10th. In the combined Extreme and Pro Championships, Jax Daniels and Centra Finley top the standings, both on 25 points because of topping their class. Then it's Senna and Mr. Pickle, Frosty and Smokegate, Bluntblade and Syme, and Swanson at the bottom of the table. However, due to the nature of the class points, he's only 15 points behind Jax Daniels and Finley at the top. Similar situation in the Pro-Am and Amateur combined. 50 Gent and Lord Coleman at the top up there. Sainsy and Michael 3rd and 4th. Sloth and Kessler 5th and 6th. Project Ty and Easy Life 7th and 8th. And here we go for the formation lap. Let's actually get the tyre detail up there. Everyone on the medium except Sainsy and Easy Life. Excuse me again. If you hear me say that but don't hear any noise, don't worry, it's the Pepsi. I'll just say that. We'll take a quick look into Twitch chat just before we start. No predictions from anyone, so we will focus on the... well, literally disappeared as I looked up from my phone. But yeah, looks like for at least the first part of this race, it's going to be who has the general pace advantage, whether that be through setup or confidence in the circuit. As we are coming through the final sector now. Now this front 8 have made an absolute run for it. There's probably a good 5 or 6 seconds between Smug Git and Al News there. Now whether that is a tactical decision, I don't know. Anyway, we can see King Kong there. He's just about coming through the last, or coming into the last corner, turn 27 here. On the little bridge, yep, the little bridge thing there. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've got your snacks ready, because this will be a long race. I think it was 50 laps I saw just then, before we jumped in. That was correct, here we go. The lights are on. 4, 5. And they're out. And they're all away. And let's change our camera. Oh, that's the wrong way. I've completely botched the start. I do apologise. We see one of the McLarens had been tagged there by someone. Let's move back up the field. Let's follow Senna for a bit. Looks like Sainsy was lost a few positions off the start there. We saw someone off the circuit in the background there. I didn't notice who it was. But it looks like everyone's safely through the first sector. And in a lap's time, this DRS zone will be active. It's not the easiest overtaking opportunity on the circuit, given you come into this tight and fast little chicane in the middle of the anyway, coming round into the final sector now to finish the lap. Looks like Jack Daniels has managed to hold on to first position. However, Senna's very, very close behind. And Senna looked like he was very good in the straight line there, even though he didn't have the DRS. So it might get interesting a bit later into this race. I'll say in about half a lap's time when we get the DRS for the first time. And Senna looks like he's gonna be, well, in the perfect range if he gets the next two corners right. And yes, he will. He will have DRS here. The game's predicting a one-stop for the guys on the mediums at the moment. Senna is not close enough to make a move into the chicane at the top there. Gonna get an extra dose of DRS in this little curved straight here. I'll say it's a curved straight, it's not really straight at all, but anyway. round wide called for Verstappen corner to get another dose of the DRS, and I think this is probably going to be where Senna takes the lead. He does take fastest lap. Looks up the inside. He locks the brakes. They both safely through the corner, and the move is sealed for Senna. And we'll take a look. Remember, we'll take a look at the end of the lap to see who are the biggest gainers off the start and the first 3 laps. As I'm looking there, these two here are already like 3 seconds clear, or over 3 seconds clear of the likes of Finley and Syme, which is pretty impressive considering we've only had about 2.5 laps. And Jack Daniels looks like he's got nothing for Senna at the moment. No response to Senna's overtake, unless he's still got the DRS on the exit of the corner. He should do, but he's going to be a bit far back for a lunge into turn 1. Let's look to the back there. Syme's got DRS on. Finley here is, it looks like they're 3 wide in the background there. Looks like it's settled. Coleman looking like he's got the advantage out of them boys there. Frosty having a kick in the rear out in his kicks over. It seems like there's a good little midfield battle going on. We will keep checking in on that if it stays this close. Oh, is Coleman over the curb at 10, 11 and 12. It was probably one of the hard, well, every corner is hard around this circuit, but I think that's one of the ones that is one of the hardest sections to get absolutely bang on around this circuit. But I'm going to take a quick peek up the top field for a moment. Jack Daniels is still chasing down Senna. I think Senna probably thought he was clear, but I don't think he is anymore. Are we going to see the Alpine come back at him at turn? Oh, Senna has a bit of a slide on the exit of the final corner. Gives Jack Daniels probably the best run into turn 1. And he doesn't need to use the slipstream to get past. He's just flown past because of Senna's mistake on the final corner there. Okay, we'll move to the back for a second. I noticed King Kong is up to 13th off the start there. Where's the position changed? Seems like our biggest gainers in the field at the moment are Finley, Michael and King Kong. Unfortunate for last season's runner-up, Frosty has been the has dropped most positions off the start, dropping 4. And it seems Jack Daniels is clear of Senna, which is surprising me. He's already put a second on Senna in almost half a lap, so well, we will keep our eye on that for sure. Anyway, back to the midfield here. We'll take a look at Swanton here. There's Frosty and Coleman are dicing away in the background there. Jack Daniels sets the new fastest lap of the race, but we will keep an eye on the midfielders here. As we see Looks like Frosty's through on Coleman. Swanson through on Syme. And Smugit and Al Newt are going at it at turn 1 as well. And you can hear there how careful Swanson's been through the first sector there. It is such an easy section to push too hard, get on the raised curves, and basically ride them curves almost into an... And if you're not careful, them curves are basically sentencing you to a trip to the wall. As we see the yellow flag, sector 2. Frosty's dropping through the field. Looks like there's no damage, so I think it's probably just a spin. Anyway, back to the leaders because Senna is now on back within DRS of Jax Daniels. Newton Coleman have changed positions as well. Jax Daniels holds on to turn 1. Oh my days, this is like a 6 car pack it looks like. Maybe even more. Smugit looking to take turn 1, no. But these two bumping and exchanging paint between the diffuser and the front wing of the Ferrari and the Racing Bull. And look at the... I mean, you can see it on the timing display there, but you can also see it on the track map. The gap Senna and Jax Daniels have pulled. We've seen a few penalties for people there, Sloth and Syme. I'm going to move up to the front for a moment. Is Senna close enough for turn 1 there? No, he isn't. What about Swanson and Finley? I don't think Swanson's close enough, he isn't. Well, look in the back there, Newt, Smugit and Coleman. I don't think these three have like... Oh, this looks like Smugit had a bit of contact. He's managed to keep it pointing forwards. Let's take a look at that chrome McLaren. As Smugit goes a bit deep, but he's managed, kind of the bank nature of the corner, he's managed to keep a bit of speed up, I guess. And let's go back to the front there, because look, Senna getting very close to Jax Daniels. Probably the closest he's been. Oh, as he has another slide off the final corner. Doesn't look like it's compromised his drive too much. It's following the slipstream. Kind of has a bit of a fake look, but nothing. As Jax Daniels is also sliding around a bit there. And Senna's going to have to wait at least another half lap for another opportunity. And this is probably one of the hardest sectors to try and keep a gap. you know, with the way the dirty air has affected the cars in recent F1 games, it's hard to follow anyone through such a precise section like that. It seems like Senna is doing that very, very well at the moment. As there's a yellow flag, end of sector 1. Can't see who it was. I think it might have been Sloth. We see Senna's trying again. He's getting closer, but don't think he'll be close enough for the final corner. And that was really good from the pair of them on the exit. So he's using that DRS. He looks to the outside of turn 1. Goes nose ahead. And that looks like a very well performed move from the reigning champion here. Jack Daniels is on a little bit of a look back into turns 4 and 5. But Senna is now the race leader once again. Now let's take a bit of a look through the field. King Kong has dropped some places. I've noticed Swanson has managed to get ahead of Finley as well while we've been watching the Senna and Jack Daniels battle. We'll be coming up to a fifth of the race finished when we cross the line next. To be fair, hasn't felt that long, you know. 10 you know. Usually, with the nature of the circuit, you know, being tight walls, you usually get an early safety car in, whether that be in real life or in league racing. But it seems to be a very clean race from what we've seen so far. Jack Daniels back through on Senna into turn 1. And it looks like the side by side off the exit of 3. It's Jack Daniels going to have the line for turn 4. Forces Senna to back out and reevaluate his options. And we get a yellow flag, sector 1. Someone's going around in the chicane at the start. It looks... maybe Sainsy? I'm only going off what I can see off the track map there. I do apologise if I'm wrong. And now Jack Daniels, as a result of having the preferred line into turn 4, he's now a second and a half clear of Senna at the top of the standings at the for the time being. As you can see on the timing on the track map, Finley's still hunting down Swanson. And that battle from, looks like it's 8th down to 11th. What? It's just like one massive snake for down there. See, there's also a bit of a second snake forming with Sloth, 50 Gent, King Kong, and Easy Life. Finley not close enough for a move into turn 1. Take a look back at Pickle, who's managed to get ahead of his teammate Lord Coleman, who is still battling away with Smudgate all these laps later. I think the last time we checked in on them would have been about lap 7 or 8. You know what, let's take a look at the battle at the rear of the field. There's, oh, easy, we see 50 Gen just clipping the inside wall there. It's very easily done. We'll take a, let's take a quick look behind there. You can see Sloth and Easy Life, they're side by side. They're still side by side coming through the little open turn at the end of Sector 1 into start Sector 2. They're still side by side as they're coming into the chicane there. As Pickle now gets a 3-second time penalty. Those King Kong has had one as well since, in the meantime, since we last did the penalty check. And I just need to remind myself about lap 25 or whenever we get a safety car to just reset party, just so the drivers will not be hearing me while they're trying to concentrate. As always, Easy Life has a bit of like a slide or whatever it was. I just caught the end of it. Let's go back towards the front. We'll look at Finley here. He's still chasing down the Aston Martin of Swanton. Now, if we're expecting one stops, we're probably not going to see anyone in until it's laps 25-30-ish. We can see Finley, he's got the opportunity to turn one, he's not got the braking to do it. Simon's the first driver, oh, and Coleman as well, the first drivers to come into the pit in this race. Simon moves onto the softs tyres, Coleman onto the mediums, King Kong also in. Are these drivers not expecting King Kong onto the hards? I wonder if these drivers are not expecting the mediums to carry them as far as I'm expecting them to. And I've noticed, just in the corner of my eye, the battle in the midfield is now down from 5th to 9th. They seem to have recruited Newt into their little battle. As Finley's got another good opportunity here for turn 1. Takes a look, not close enough though. Smug-Git and Frosty as Frosty comes into the pits. You can see Pickles got through on Newt as well. So Frosty the only one to come in on that lap. Go back up here to Swanton and Finley. Now, one thing I really like about this circuit, it's a track of two halves in a way. If you've got good straight line speed, you'll be really good. If you've got good handling, you'll be equally as good. So where you gain in one part will be equal. Let's say you gain half a second in one, well maybe not 1 sector, but let's say you gain a couple tenths in one sector, the other person will get the other tenths back, in the next one. It is really a funny track, Jeddah, and hopefully we will see it around when the track in Qiddiya, I think it's called. Hopefully we still see it in some shape or form when the Qiddiya circuit takes over the Saudi Grand Prix. Is Swanson into the pits, same for Pickle just behind in the background. Swanson onto the hards, and he's come out just ahead of 50 Gent there. But crucially, he's a good bit clear of Syme as well. Let's see what, 2.6 seconds? Now, what's happened here? Because Jax Daniels is suddenly slowed down and Senna's right on the back of him. There was about 1.9ish seconds between them. How has the gap dropped to nearly 4 tenths? Are the tyres fading away for Jax Daniels? I know. Oh, Senna's a bit of a twitch into 4. Managed to recover it, but there goes all the time he's just clawed back. I will give him his credit, that was well saved from the reigning champion there. But that was a really weird... It looks like the rear's locked into the corner or something. I don't know, he's turned in way too early, he's tried to back out of it, I don't know. It was a very scary moment regardless for Senna. But looks like the time he's lost is... he's gaining a lot, he must have saved a bit of battery, hoping for an attack, but... guess he's using it to try and keep an attack... a chance of an attack alive, I guess. Just looking through the field there, the first of our recently stopped drivers is Swanson in 7th. And Sainsy, who's the one of these, I do apologise. Our two hard starters, Sainsy up to 6th at the moment, but bear in mind we do have the few drivers who have pitted. Easily Life 11th. It seems Senna's having some issues with turn 4 there. We see him kind of backed out a little bit there. And these guys are over 30 seconds clear of the next nearest car on track, which is DRS Smugget. So these boys could do 2 stops. And, well, maybe, I don't know, I don't know what I can't remember what the pit margin is around here, but... I suppose, yeah, they could do like 2 stops and still hold position almost. that's providing, you know, smug git and they're kind of faking me out every time running that over the white line there. It makes me feel like they're coming in, but they're not actually going in. Got a feeling they've got a rule for that in real life, but it doesn't look like that rule's enforced here. And to be fair, it's not a rule I particularly agree with, but hey, rules are rules. So I need to remind myself in about 5 or 6 laps time to make the necessary changes, just so the drivers are not getting distracted. As Finley now gets a time penalty, 3 seconds. I take it that will be, where is he on circuit? That must have been at the first chicane. Again, an easy one. It's kind of tempting to go over the first curb. The Sainzy also gets a time penalty as well. We'll do a little penalty check in a minute too. We'll just see how many the leader's going to pit this time. They've got nearly half a lap to use, and it looks like Jack Daniels fakes Senna out there. So yellow flag sector 2. It looks like one of the kick salvers has gone around. I think it might be Michael. Looks like it is. Instance resolved itself before we could. Oh, Senna's a bit of a slide through turn 2 there. Senna's really, either these tyres are getting very warm for him, or he's not agreeing with this first sector at all. Now, let me do a little penalty check here, just while we have a few moments. Everyone who has one is on a 3 second. That is Sentra, Finley, Sainzy, Syme, Pickle, King Kong, and the Sloth. And Michael comes into the pits. Is that to replace worn tyres, or is that for damage? We shall see now. It looks like there was damage, yes. Really unfortunate for the Sauber driver there. Easy Life will also win to get onto the mediums. Now I'm thinking these guys are only getting roughly 15 to 20 laps out of these tyres. Are they potentially... I think they're going to need another, maybe 2-stop, I think, if we're going to be doing 20 lap stints. Unless you're really careful, like Jack Daniels and Senna have been. Finley's going to get past Al Newt there. Take 4th spot. And notice as well, in all that, Finley has managed to take basically the equivalent of 3rd in time. Oh, and Sainzy's out at turn 4. There's a yellow flag, but doesn't seem to be escalating any further than that. As we looks like he's clipped the inside wall and gone into the runoff there. Really unfortunate for the Mercedes driver there, who was trying that alternate strategy. Jack Daniels staying out another lap longer. Senna's doing the same. But we'll take a quick look here at Smugget and Finley. Finley on the much fresher hard tyres. I think the move is a matter of when and not if. See there, Finley got the DRS open. Ooh. Is he going to get the move done? I don't think he will. Well, that was interesting. Seeing nooses into the pit onto some hard tyres. And Finley's going to have to be stuck in the dirty air of Smugget for at least another few corners here. Now I don't know what is going on at the front two there, but that is an insane standard. That even before they do their first stops, they have 30-second gap over P3. We'll call it 33.5. You know, that is a crazy standard. Like you can see there, they're going to be finishing sector 1 by the time Finley comes past the start finish line. That is something. Now we'll see here, what do Jack Daniels and Senna do? We're coming up to nearly halfway in this race. I think they are trying to make the one-stop work. I think Senna's going to be going with him, given what happened last week at Silverstone. Now we saw Jack Daniels, here comes Jack Daniels into the pits. Does Senna stay out? Senna also in. Through that little pit entry chicane. There's 2.7 seconds separating them on the entry. Now, what separates them on the exit there? There's a couple tenths gone Jack Daniels' way there. Smugget also into the pit, and I believe that's everyone on to their second stint or further now. Simon gets another time penalty just after completing his second stop of the race. Gone for an interesting strategy there, doing that little short soft stint in the middle. I think he's banking on everyone else, bar Jack Daniels, Senna and Smugget, doing the same thing. And Senna's managed to pull back a second already. Just in the first lap of them two being on these new tyres. But the main one to look is, look at the gap they've got to Finley in third. Still 14 seconds. I mean, that is incredible. Another effectively... they're attempting the one stop, it seems. That is... absolutely insane, I'd say. King Kong gets a time penalty, 3 seconds. That's, I believe that's the second. We'll do a quick penalty check up. Yeah, Finley, Mr. Pickle, Sloth and Michael on 3, King Kong and Sam on 6. Jack Daniel sets the fastest lap of the race at 30.43. Seems to have restored order there by putting the second Senna game straight back into him. Let me just readjust my headset there. Now, let's have a look through the field here. Look at Coleman and Frosty here. As Coleman gets a 3-second time penalty, we've just seen him go over the curb a little bit too much there. We'll skim down there. We'll look at Newt Simon King Kong here. Ooh, Newt just runs a bit into the wall. Now, interesting, we won't. I don't think we're going to be seeing the Red Bull family of teams tactics here. Oh, maybe, I don't know, because we just seen King Kong. Newt gives him a little tap on the rear on the exit of turn 27. And Simon looking to get a bit of double slipstream off the pair of them. Don't know what happened there. Just looked like King Kong didn't get off the corner as well as Newt was expecting to. Let's keep an eye on that gap at the front. It seems to be going one way then the other. No, did those 2 or 3 mistakes we saw from Senna towards the end of their first stint, I know we've still got well over 20 laps to go. Will that affect his chances of winning? Well, I could have my point proven to me by the fact he's now 1.8 behind Jack Daniels. That is at least 3 or 4 tenths taken out before I started the previous sentence. There's a good little inter-team battle going on here for 9th between the two V cars. We will just look at the details between them. I noticed Syme has a lap pressure tyres. Goes a little bit wide around the exit of the little open hairpin there. Now, I'm just going to take a little break away from this. Let's take a look at Senna real quick. As he comes into turn 4 there. Sainz managed to get past News as soon as we turned away there. Swanson back into the pits. Seems to be hanging about this 1.8, 1.9 second range. It's a it's an interesting and I've noticed as well. And there we go, there's a moment, it just suddenly tells me, oh yeah, you're speaking to the lobby now. We see a few more into the pits there. And while I was fixing that, Senna's managed to gain nearly half a second on Jack Daniels. Now just to remind you, you can see in the on the left hand side of the screen there, both of them on equal tyre life at least, whether there's in terms of laps. Now tyre life in terms of actual grip, who knows? Oh, but they're considering that they've just about started this, or recently started the sin. I think we won't see any tyre concerns for a while. You can just see we got very close to cracking under the second range. So let's see if the reigning champion can work some magic here. As Pickle gets another time penalty. And we see King Kong's coming for another stop onto another set of hards. And there we go. It's not close enough for a DRS this time, but we can see there 0.9 second gap. So the end, this could be the end of Jack Daniels' slightly comfortable stint in the lead of this race. Or if he doesn't lose the lead, it'll definitely be a bit uncomfortable with Senna closing the gap that quickly. Got the word in the end. And we can gonna see it in a minute. There goes. The rear wing opens up. I'm gonna see it open up once again. There it goes. Now this will be the crucial one. Don't think it'll be close enough for an overtake at turn 1 at this far back, but you will hopefully, well, not hopefully, that's the wrong term to use. I shouldn't have, oh, fuck anyway. You're going to see the gap decreasing there to about 4 tenths, 5 tenths-ish. I was kind of hoping, you know, hopefully it'll be these two this close for the remaining 18 laps of this race. You see Finley makes another stop out of 3rd place. Looks like he's just going to come out 5th ahead of Al Newt. But we will keep our eyes on the battle with Senna and Jax Daniels for the time being. Now, you gotta remember, it was about, what, 10 laps ago? Maybe a little bit further, maybe 15-ish. That's when we started seeing the gap go as far as 1.8, 1 point whatever seconds. This is the first time we've seen them nearly half a tenth in a long time. And, however, this might save Jax Daniels a bit of lap traffic from Easy Life. I think he's had the first blue flag warning there. Now, when does the other Alpine choose to let the pair of them go? Jax Daniels goes through, and I think Senna's going to do the same. Yes, he does. Neither of them losing much time in the process. Very well done from all three. However, maybe Jax Daniels would have hoped that that other Alpine came into play a bit further into the lap, because he's not going to have any defense for Senna's DRS in the moment. No, he does not have that little tool in his back pocket to help him fend off the Haas. And Senna's locking up a little. He's done it a few times in this race. And this is the closest Senna's been in a very, very long time. Oh, Jack Daniels looks like it's a weld. All the time kind. Oh, they make contact, but they keep it forward facing. However, Senna's got the advantage this time into turn 4, and he's stayed ahead. Well, Senna's the lead of this race for the first time in, I'm going to say 20 laps or so. I could be wrong, and please correct me if I am. But looks like Jack Daniels must have been saving some battery expecting that move. He's coming right back at Senna. And look how close he is as they run along this little pond on the inside there. Jack Daniels looks round the outside of turn 26. Oh, that might have been the wrong card to play, because there's the other DRS detection point. Senna's going to have DRS down the start-finish straight. Senna looks to the outside going into turn 1. Jack Daniels still holding the inside. Senna locks up. They're still side by side. Senna looks like he's holding on to it. Jack Daniels has got the inside, but he backs out of it. So, as they come through the first sector here on lap 36, Senna will keep hold of the lead. As we get yellow flag sector 1, it looks like it was Easy Life who's gone round. My guess is he's touched the raised curbs in the middle of the sector there. But we will keep our attention on this lead battle here. Jack Daniels not letting Senna get away. Oh, he put a bit of pressure on with a fake move there, but he's compromised his own run. He's just still got DRS, and I think he's going to be close enough to get DRS off the exit of 27 there, but he's probably lost half a lap to a lap of a potential overtaking manoeuvre. It was a good effort from Jack Daniels, but unfortunately it just wasn't close enough, and you have to be very committed to a... It's one of those, if you're going to make the move there, you have to commit early and you have to be alongside early, and unfortunately he was neither. However, he's still keeping the pressure on Senna 17 here. Senna looked like he missed an apex or two in the middle of the sector. In the middle of them little twisty couple like double corners and whatever. And oh my days, every time I look at that gap, I know there's a bit of trickery there because Finley's had another stop, but 48.5 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. That is a mental standard set by these two in the front, at the front of the field there. We'll take a quick look just before they have another opportunity. What's fastest laps looking like? It's going to Jack Daniels at the moment by 4/10, or just over 4/10. Let me change it back to... That's the wrong one again. There we go. Jack Daniels not close enough this time into turn 1. no, excuse me, I don't know what's happened. It's the Pepsi, I swear again. We can see there the majority of the field now on the hard tyre, looking like they're all... Looks like everyone's going to try and run this tyre to the end of the race now. Easy Life, the only one who's not on the hard tyre, on the medium, and I think they're probably going to aim for... Well, on 17 laps, they'd be pushing it to try and get to the end. My guess is they'll do another stop for some softs. Jax Daniels giving it every last bit of effort to try and catch back to Senna. Because there's only going to be 12 laps to go at the end of this one. The gap stands at about half a second, but obviously gotta wait for this DRS zone. And it seems Jax Daniels loves a little back straight here. Every time he's behind Senna here, he pulls in so much time. And this time, Jax Daniels is going to look around the outside for turn 1. Whoa, well, no, oh, and Senna loses a bit of wing as they both kind of scrambled across the first two corners. I don't think the Haas driver is going to be very happy about that, but I've noticed there as well, Finley's now into P3 again. I heard a bit of a tap there. I hope that wasn't Jax Daniels. Doesn't look like it was. Jax Daniels weaving a little bit on the little short straight there. Is he struggling with tyre heat temperature, or is he just a bit of mind games with his championship rival? Senna absolutely flies into the chicane. That wing damage is definitely affecting him now. If I was Senna, I think, knowing the nature of this circuit, I think you'd play it safe, get a wing change. You've got 50 seconds to play with. You're not... I mean... He's lost the whole end play. I don't see him catching back up to Jax Daniels now. We'll see what the reigning champion does now. He's going to stay out. He's going to try and brave the damage, I think. As he locks up into turn 1. And Jax Daniels is gone. He's 3.7 up the road. And it's increasing. We'll take a look at this little battle there. Simon Coleman. They are 8th and 9th at the moment. Both of them have penalties. What is the difference between them? 3 seconds for Coleman, 6 to Syme. I mean, I wish there was a bit more of a simpler way of bringing up stats for you guys, but just dealing with the limitations of the game, I guess. As we have now got 10 laps to go, according to, well, to Jax Daniels at least. For the rest of the field, they've still got about 10 and a half. We'll bring up that, like, positions gained one again. Let me find that real quick. Looks like it's Smug Git who's gained the most with +4. Syme who's lost the most of them, -5. easy life now onto the soft tyres, kind of how I expected. You know, they were going to struggle to make them mediums go all the way to lap 50 when they had 17 laps on it when last time I checked. Oh my days. That battle between Jack Daniels and Senna has knackered me out, but we're going to keep pushing anyway. Now I'm really surprised here. Unless Senna's trying to get to about lap 45 or so, whack the softs on for a fastest lap attempt, I don't really see the need to stay out. As Jack Daniels gets a time penalty, 3 seconds. But with Senna nearly 7 seconds back and with wing damage, I think that penalty is not going to change much at this rate. Now, let's take a little look. Look at Frosty, who's making a good recovery here. They were a little bit down in the field earlier, but they're doing well. Making a good recovery after a bit of a slow start in Silverstone reverse. Where was... he was 5th anyway. I do apologise. It was not a bad start, but you know, weeks gone by, you know, what life doing life things. We can see him on the back of Smug Gear. That's definitely something we're not going to forget. He's going to look round the outside through 26. And ahead by the turn in for 27. Smug Gear will have the DRS though. Looks like Frosty's pulled just enough to stay ahead into turn 1. Now, could Frosty make a late charge for P3? He hasn't got any penalties. Finley's still on 3 seconds. Frosty could be on the late charge for a podium here. We'll look through the order. It looks like there's a bit of a potential battle on between Newton Coleman. We will keep an eye on that for a moment. Actually, no, let's take a look at Michael and King Kong. Both look like they're going to get... Oh, King Kong gets another 3-second time penalty. I believe that is Jack Daniels just behind him as well. You know, that's how good the Alpine driver has been tonight, that they have... There's a potential for everyone up to 11th to be lapped. Blue flags are going. And is King Kong going to make an advantage of the blue flags? No, Michael just stays ahead there. Working their way through the middle sector, it's King Kong is going to have the DRS here. Now, King Kong doesn't have much newer tyres, nearly half the length of Michael's. And I'm just looking into the field there. Sloth has 27 laps on their hard tyres at the moment. By the end of this race, there's going to be at least 32, 33. King Kong goes through into turn 1 round the outside. Senna now comes into the pits, and I think it's kind of almost doing as what I said earlier, getting on some soft tyres, changing the wing just to make sure he gets that fastest lap point. There he goes, just waiting. It was taking a while to let him release, but there we go. Okay, can we... There we go. I was waiting for him to come off the Haas mechanics there, but it took their sweet time. We take a little look through. Oh, excuse me. Now Finley's managed to gain a second on Frosty, which says to me I think Finley could, well, as long as he maintains this gap, he's going to be... Ooh, look like Easy Life's had a bit of a sliding into the wall there. Must have been a bit of a scare for the reigning Pro-Am champion. Let's take a look here, because I noticed Smuggate's getting a little closer to Frosty. In fact, he's lost another second as Frosty, so... Is there an issue we're not aware of? And it looks like it's Ferrari versus RB, which... If this was the F1 2026 update, we could technically have Ford versus Ferrari, because you look on track there, Ferrari and just Ferrari, RB, with the Red Bull a little bit behind. Obviously with the Red Bull teams moving to the Ford powertrains, it would be Ford versus Ferrari. Smugate retakes fourth place from Frosty. I don't know. Oh, it looks like Frosty's had some wing damage from somewhere. Let me get a look at the other side of the car. Yeah, he's missing the left hand side end plate, and you can see that he's running wide. I haven't a clue what's happened there. We'll take a look at Senna, who's on a... I take it this will be his fast lap attempt, or was he... You see he's gliding through that little chicane there. So You can see he's gaining to Jax Daniels, but you gotta remember Jax Daniels is on the older hard tyre. Frosty now gets a time penalty. Unless Smudgett suddenly finds 2.5 seconds, I don't think. And he's losing his third place now. Senna takes the fastest lap of the race. I didn't catch what it was. It was a 28.993. Over the second and a half quicker than what Jax Daniels set earlier in the race. Now, what does Jax Daniels do here? If he's going to go for a fast lap attempt himself, he does have the pit stop gap, but he would be risking the 25 points if he wins. Let's see if Senna's on for another lap here. His battery's getting quite low from the looks of things, which says to me he's having another push at it. Let's see what he does. No fastest lap this time. Now where is Jax Daniels? I take it that'll be him coming up to the open hairpin at the north end of the circuit. Or should I say the northeastern end of the track, should I say. Given how that track map's laid out. Let's see, can we look? The Ferrari's still going at it in 7th and 8th. Simon kind of joining the party in the back. The McLaren going slowly in the final sector. I think it was Sloth. Mr. Pickle has gone out just as we move away from the Ferraris. Oh, really unfortunate for Mr. Pickle there. Now where's Jax Daniels? Jax Daniels' sector is clear for him, which will be good news. But what will be even better news is if he wins by 26 seconds. Then again, Senna's out there to try and cut that gap as small as it can possibly be. But again, another well-performed strategy for the Alpine driver, who is going to have a perfect record in season 15. Touching wood, because obviously he's still got a sector to go. And there he goes into the final sector now, one last time kind of around the lake, a little pond or whatever you want to call it in the middle. And here he comes to take his second win of the season. Jax Daniels wins the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Now, how much time can Senna take out before he comes to the line? And he's at 24.8 now. He could potentially have a bit of assistance from Sloth's Ghost there. It's gonna be 21.5 with Jax Daniels' penalty. Now we're gonna wait a little while for Finley now. that just shows the class of, well, the quality of Jack Daniels and Senna, that they effectively have a minute over the rest of the field. There's Smugget, Frosty, Easy Life finishing as well. And here comes the final three to finish this race, in terms of on track at least. Coleman, Simon, we're going to soon to see Al Neat. There he is. We'll skip the podium, I know. There you go. Jack Daniels, second win of the season. And I believe that is second pole to win as well of the season. Anyway, Senna in second. Unfortunate incident that lost his front end plate. Finley comes home third once again. It's basically a repeat of the Silverstone podium. Smuggy, Frosty 4th and 5th, Swanson, Coleman, Syme, Newt, Michael finishing off the points. Then just outside we've got King Kong, The Sloth, 50 Gen, Easy Life, and unfortunately Mr. Pickle retiring there on the penultimate, the penultimate lap, and Sainsy retiring early in the race with that incident at turn 4. I think it was, I can't remember now. A lot of racing's happened since Sainsy's incident. I feel like I say this every week now. I'm going to need to go for a lie down again. Thank you all for joining. Or if you're watching this back later, thank you for watching. Next week, back to the 50% format at Monza, Tuesday, January 20th. The usual time, 8 PM GMT here on the DJ Devilsaurs channel. And yeah, I shall see you all, same place, same time next week. Good night, everyone.